Ladies and gentlemen, there's a law written in the pages of life that few understand, yet everyone experiences. You will be hurt by others. You'll be judged, betrayed, misunderstood, disrespected, or abandoned, sometimes by the very people you once lifted with both hands. And when that moment comes, you'll be faced with a question not about them, but about you. What will you do with the pain? Some respond by fighting back, throwing insult for insult. Others curl inward and let the wound become their identity. But the ones who rise, the ones who truly win, are those who learn to take that pain and build something with it. They refuse to let the actions of others dictate their direction. They refuse to give someone else the power to steer their future. Pain is a powerful thing, but it is only powerful when you give it a purpose. Understand this: when someone hurts you, they're not speaking the truth of who you are. They are revealing the truth of who they are. Their jealousy, their insecurity, their chaos, their emptiness, it's not about you. You just happen to walk in front of a mirror they've spent years avoiding. Do not internalize the garbage they project. Stand back and see it for what it is: a desperate attempt to pull you down because your light reminds them of their own darkness. People who are fulfilled don't need to destroy others. People who are at peace don't pick fights. And people who believe in themselves don't tear down the dreams of others. When someone tries to hurt you, understand, it's not about your worth. It's about their wounds. Now, here's where your real power begins. You cannot always control what people do to you, but you can always control what you do next. Your reaction is the measure of your growth. Weakness is loud. Power is calm. Anyone can shout, retaliate, or act out of impulse. But it takes strength to smile, to stay silent, to walk away and keep building. Because those who are building something greater don't have time to fight small battles. They're too busy preparing for victory. You must rise above the noise. You must train your mind to respond with discipline, not emotion. Because when you act with emotion, you give others the remote control to your life. And let me be blunt, nobody who hurt you deserves to hold that power. They want to see you break. So surprise them with your balance. They expect your reaction. So deny them your energy. They want to rent space in your mind. So evict them today, right now. Because you have too much life to live, too much purpose to fulfill, and too much light to offer this world to stay stuck in someone else's storm. Do not waste your strength on revenge. Success is the loudest silence you can offer your enemies. The ones who once laughed at you will watch your name rise, not because you stooped to their level, but because you climbed so high they can no longer reach you. That's how you win, not through war. Through work, quiet, focused, disciplined work. While they gossip, you build. While they doubt you, you decide. While they hate, you heal. And let me tell you something else. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the decision to stop bleeding over a wound someone else caused. It is you telling yourself, I will no longer carry this weight through my life. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. But forgiveness is not the same as access. You can forgive and still choose to walk away. You can let go and still refuse to let them back in. Don't confuse a kind heart with an open door. Guard your peace like a fortress. Surround yourself with people who see your vision, not those who secretly hope you fail. Be with those who challenge you to rise, not those who are comfortable with your weakness. Protect your space because your energy is your empire. Every time someone hurts you, you are given a test. Do you shrink or do you sharpen? Do you retreat or do you refine? Do you surrender to the pain or do you transform it into power? So I ask you, if you've been hurt, and I know you have, what will you do with that pain? Will you carry it or will you convert it? Will you let it poison your future or will you let it become the fuel behind your fire? The people who hurt you don't need your rage. They need your absence, your silence, your success. That's how you handle them, not by becoming like them, but by becoming so much more than they ever expected. So walk tall. Keep building. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them try. And when the time comes, let them watch. Because the greatest revenge is not shouting louder. It is becoming everything they said you could never be. When someone hurts you, whether with words, actions, or even silence, the first instinct for most people is to react. Emotion kicks in, anger rises, the mind begins to replay what was said or done, and the heart demands justice. But reacting impulsively only gives the other person more power over you. When you allow someone else's actions to dictate your emotional state, you become a puppet to their behavior, and no one should ever have that kind of control over your life. The greatest power you can ever develop is the ability to choose your response, not just react to your environment. Mastering your response doesn't mean you suppress what you feel. It means you give yourself the space to feel, reflect, and then respond with wisdom, not weakness. If someone insults you and you immediately lash back, they've succeeded. They've pulled you into their level. But if you take a breath, step back, and respond with composure, or sometimes choose not to respond at all, you remain in control. And that control, it's strength, it's maturity, it's leadership. Imagine a storm raging outside. Trees are bending, rain is pouring, thunder is cracking through the sky. That storm is like the chaos someone else can bring into your life. But inside your home, if the windows are closed and the doors are shut, you can still sit in silence, in warmth, untouched by the madness outside. That's what emotional control looks like. The storm doesn't have to enter you. You can acknowledge it, but you don't have to absorb it. There's an old truth that says it's not what happens to you that matters most. It's what you do about it. The person who wronged you may never apologize. They may never change. But your power doesn't come from waiting for them to do the right thing. Your power comes from doing your right thing, from maintaining your dignity when it would be easier to descend into bitterness, from choosing patience over pettiness, from being the bigger person not for applause, but for peace. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe you're soft because you didn't retaliate. What they don't understand is that your calm is not weakness. It's strategy. You've chosen your energy. You've protected your peace. You've put your growth above their chaos. And that decision, repeated over time, shapes a character that no insult can break and no betrayal can bend. You are not here to waste your life reacting to the noise of others. You are here to create, to build, to move forward. And every moment you spend consumed by someone else's negativity is a moment stolen from your purpose. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, take a breath, pause, and remind yourself you are not a slave to anyone's disrespect. You are the master of your response. That is how you win, quietly, strongly, completely. Pain is one of life's most powerful teachers, but only if you're willing to listen. The truth is, everyone experiences pain, loss, betrayal, rejection, failure. It is the common thread that connects every human being. But the difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is not whether they were hurt, but what they did with that hurt. Pain, by itself, doesn't make you stronger. Pain that is transformed, that is what builds strength, depth, and resilience. When you are hurt by someone, it can feel like your entire world has been cracked open. Your trust may be shattered, your confidence shaken, your heart heavy with questions. But hidden within that pain is raw energy, energy that can either destroy you or drive you. If you allow it, pain will consume you. It will turn into bitterness, resentment, and eventually rob you of your potential. But if you take that same pain and redirect it, if you choose to extract the lesson, channel the emotion, and move with purpose, you convert that pain into power. Real power, the kind that no one can take away from you. Think about it. Some of the most successful, influential, and impactful people in history didn't just survive pain, they used it. They allowed it to wake them up, to sharpen their focus, to fuel their work. They didn't let pain break them. They let it build them. You must do the same. You take that heartbreak and use it to deepen your empathy. You take that betrayal and let it push you to become more independent, more strategic, more self-reliant. You take that failure and allow it to drive you toward mastery. That's what transformation looks like. It's not denying the pain, it's converting it. And make no mistake, this is not an easy process. It takes emotional strength to feel the pain without being buried by it. It takes mental clarity to sit with your emotions long enough to understand them without letting them rule your behavior. And it takes inner fire to say, this will not be the end of me. This will be the beginning. Because every setback can be a setup for something greater. If you're willing to shift your mindset. Transformation isn't loud. It happens in silence, behind closed doors when no one's watching. It's the choice to wake up and keep going when everything in you wants to give up. It's the decision to learn instead of blame, to evolve instead of escape. That moment when you look in the mirror and say, yes, I've been hurt, but I am not staying hurt. I'm not staying broken. I'm building something from this. That is when pain becomes power. The ones who hurt you might never see your growth. They may never understand the fire they lit inside you. But that doesn't matter, because transformation is not about showing them. It's about proving to yourself that you are greater than what tried to destroy you, that you can alchemize suffering into strength, that you can create beauty from what once felt unbearable. This is your life, and though you may not have chosen the pain, you can choose what it becomes. Let it push you forward. Let it sharpen your mission. Let it remind you how strong you truly are. Pain is not your enemy. Unused pain is. But pain that's transformed, that is power in its purest form. When someone hurts you, intentionally or not, there's a natural instinct to take it personally. We start questioning ourselves, our worth, our actions. We replay conversations and wonder what we could have done differently. But in many cases, the hurtful behavior of others has far less to do with you and far more to do with what's going on inside them. People act out from their own wounds, fears, insecurities, and unresolved pain. And if you can understand that, truly understand it, you begin to free yourself from the emotional grip their actions have on you. Human behavior is not random. It's shaped by a person's beliefs, experiences, trauma, and emotional maturity. Someone who lashes out in anger is often someone who never learned how to communicate pain in a healthy way. Someone who betrays you may be operating from a place of fear or desperation. Someone who mocks or criticizes might be doing so to distract from their own sense of inadequacy. Insecure people often attempt to lower others to feel tall themselves. It doesn't justify their actions, but it helps you see that their behavior is a reflection of their inner world, not a judgment of yours. When you begin to recognize this, you stop absorbing every attack as truth. You stop letting other people's dysfunction dictate your self-image. Hurt people. It's a cliché for a reason. It's often accurate. A person who's happy, fulfilled, at peace with themselves doesn't need to bring others down. They don't need to lie, manipulate, or sabotage. It's those who are still battling their own shadows who try to cast them on others. Once you see this pattern, you don't fall into their trap as easily. Understanding the source of someone's actions is not the same as excusing it. You're not letting them off the hook. You're simply protecting your own energy. You're stepping back, observing the behavior without making it your identity. You're saying, this is about them, not about me. That separation is powerful. It allows you to process your emotions with clarity instead of confusion. It creates emotional distance, and in that space, healing begins. This mindset doesn't make you naive, it makes you wise. It doesn't make you a victim, it makes you a strategist. Instead of reacting blindly, you start asking better questions. What might this person be carrying? What wounds are they hiding? Why do they feel the need to act this way? And more importantly, why am I allowing their actions to change how I see myself? You begin to recognize that not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every relationship deserves your full investment. When you truly understand where someone's behavior comes from, you reclaim your emotional power. You stop being triggered, and you start being intentional. You learn to respond, not react, and most of all, you learn to walk away, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. So the next time someone wrongs you, take a step back and look deeper. Their words may sound strong, but they may be hiding weakness. Their actions may feel cruel, but they may come from pain. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to carry their weight. Just understand the truth their behavior is their reflection, not your reality. And when you grasp that, you'll move through the world lighter, stronger, and far more free. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts in personal growth. Many believe that to forgive someone means to excuse what they did, to minimize the pain they caused, or to allow them back into your life without consequence. But true forgiveness is none of those things. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to the person who hurt you. It's a release you give yourself. It's the act of letting go of the anger, resentment, and emotional weight that is holding you back from peace, from clarity, and from progress. When someone wrongs you, the natural response is to hold on, to replay the moment, to keep it alive in your mind like a movie you can't stop watching. You think about what they did, what they said, how they made you feel. You imagine confronting them, punishing them, or waiting for karma to catch up. But the truth is, while you're holding on to that hurt, they often move on. They live their life, sleep at night, laugh with others, while you carry the emotional burden they left behind. Forgiveness is how you stop doing that. It's how you take your power back. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It doesn't work. It only hurts you. It keeps you locked in the past, trapped in a moment that should have been left behind. Forgiveness allows you to say, I'm not going to let this experience control the rest of my story. It doesn't mean you forget. It means you're done allowing that pain to define your mood, your relationships, your focus, and your future. This isn't about weakness. It's about strength. It takes incredible courage to forgive someone who never said sorry, to let go when you never received closure, to move on without getting the explanation you think you deserve. But real strength isn't found in getting even. It's found in getting free. Forgiveness is for your peace of mind, your emotional health, and your spiritual progress. It's the key that unlocks the door between you and the life you were meant to live. Sometimes forgiveness means creating distance. You can forgive someone and still choose to never speak to them again. You can forgive and still protect your boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means you're not wasting one more ounce of energy on hatred or revenge. You're choosing to rise, not stay stuck. You're choosing to live with purpose, not pain. There will be times when your heart says, they don't deserve my forgiveness. And maybe that's true. But remember this, you deserve peace. You deserve to sleep at night without bitterness in your chest. You deserve to walk through life without carrying emotional baggage that doesn't belong to you anymore. Forgiveness is not about making them feel better. It's about finally feeling free yourself. Letting go doesn't mean the past didn't happen. It means you're no longer letting it control what happens next. You owe that to yourself, not because the other person deserves it, but because you do, because the best version of you can't thrive under the weight of old wounds, because your future is too important to stay tangled in yesterday's pain. So don't wait for an apology. Don't wait for the right moment. Choose forgiveness for yourself. Release the grip that resentment has on your soul, and take one more step toward becoming everything you were always meant to be. Stronger, lighter, wiser, and finally, truly free. When someone hurts you, it's easy to let that pain dominate your thoughts. You might find yourself replaying what they said or did, questioning your worth, or even imagining ways to get even. That energy, if left unchecked, becomes a cycle of anger and stagnation. But what if you took all that emotion, all the frustration, the sadness, the betrayal, and redirected it toward building something better? Instead of letting it consume you, you could let it fuel you. That is the secret of transformation, turning emotional chaos into focused energy and channeling that energy into constructive goals that push your life forward. Every ounce of energy spent dwelling on someone who wronged you is energy that could be invested in your future. You don't need to suppress how you feel, but you do need to decide where you're going to put that fire. Because pain can burn you down, or it can light the path ahead. The choice is yours. When you choose growth over grudge, you shift from victim to creator. You stop letting someone else's actions shape your day, your goals, your mindset, and instead you take control. You turn their negativity into motivation. Use their doubt to sharpen your vision. Use their insults as fuel to outwork them, outgrow them, and outshine what they thought you were. Use the rejection as a redirection. Set goals that demand your full attention, whether it's leveling up in your career, building something new, improving your health, or deepening your personal development. Every time your mind drifts back to the hurt, refocus it on your goal. Not to escape the pain, but to elevate beyond it. There is no greater revenge than turning your pain into progress. There is no louder message than your success. And there is no greater healing than building a life so full of passion and purpose that the people who tried to break you become irrelevant to your story. Focused energy is unstoppable. When your pain becomes your drive, and your drive becomes your discipline, you become a force no one can hold back. And here's the truth: constructive goals aren't just about achievements. They're about identity. When you channel your energy into things that matter to you, you begin to redefine yourself. You stop being the person who got hurt and start becoming the person who built something despite the hurt. That shift is powerful. It changes how you see yourself and how the world sees you. You don't have to announce your comeback. You just build it step by step, day by day, quietly and relentlessly. You don't need closure from the people who wronged you. You don't need their approval, their apologies, or their support. You just need your own commitment. Commit to turning pain into progress. Commit to replacing overthinking with action. Commit to becoming so focused on what you're creating that the past can no longer distract you. This is your moment to rise, not by seeking revenge or staying stuck, but by transforming the energy of your pain into something that builds, grows, and inspires. Let every setback become a stepping stone. Let every doubt become fuel. And let your goals become the proof that nothing and no one can stop a person who decides to rise above and build anyway. The people you allow into your life are not just part of your environment. They shape your mindset, your energy, your confidence, and ultimately, your future. When you've been hurt by someone, it becomes even more important to protect your emotional space. Pain has a way of making you vulnerable, and in those moments, the last thing you need is to be surrounded by people who drain you, doubt you, or keep you locked in the same patterns. You need visionaries, not emotional vampires. People who pour light into your path, not those who keep you stuck in the shadows of your past. Emotional vampires aren't always obvious. Sometimes they come disguised as friends, family members, or even mentors. But over time, their pattern becomes clear. They constantly criticize without building. They pull attention to themselves. They dismiss your dreams, or they subtly plant seeds of doubt. They thrive on gossip, conflict, and drama. These people feed off your energy, but never contribute to your growth. They might claim to care, but they do little to push you toward your higher self. And if you're not careful, they'll keep you in cycles of emotional exhaustion, always chasing their approval or validation while your own potential sits in the background neglected. On the other hand, visionaries challenge you, not to bring you down, but to lift you higher. They see past your pain and into your purpose. They remind you of what you're capable of when you've forgotten. They speak life into your goals, even when you're doubting them yourself. They hold you accountable, not with criticism, but with conviction. They don't just cheer for you when you win. They walk with you when you're building. Being around these kinds of people doesn't just feel better, it changes you. It inspires you to dream bigger, work smarter, and rise stronger. Your energy is precious. If someone is constantly draining you, distracting you, or doubting you, they are costing you more than you realize. You cannot build a future while staying anchored to people who are committed to the past. Healing from hurt requires clarity, and clarity requires clean surroundings. That includes your relationships. You must be brave enough to audit your circle, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. If someone's presence keeps you small, that's not loyalty, it's limitation. Choosing who surrounds you is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. You're not better than anyone else, but you are better than staying in places where your light is dimmed. Growth requires space, and that means letting go of people who cannot or will not grow with you. It's not personal, it's necessary. There are people out there who will understand your vision, even when it's only a rough sketch. People who will help you heal without judgment, push you without resentment, and celebrate you without competition. These are the ones you need near you when you're rebuilding your life after being hurt, because their presence is not just encouraging, it's empowering. So be intentional. Surround yourself with people who speak about ideas, not just people. People who see the future, not just the pain of the past. People who elevate your energy, not deplete it. Because in the company of visionaries, your pain becomes fuel, your goals gain momentum, and your entire life begins to align with the future you deserve, not the past you escaped. In the journey of life, being hurt by others is inevitable, but staying hurt is a choice. Every wound, every betrayal, every disappointment carries with it the seed of transformation. You are not defined by what others have done to you. You are defined by how you choose to respond, how you choose to grow, and how you choose to rise. Control your response not to suppress your emotions, but to master your focus. Transform your pain into power, not by denying it, but by using it to build something greater within yourself. Understand that the actions of others are often reflections of their own struggles, not measures of your worth. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Channel your energy into goals that uplift you, challenge you, and align with your higher self. And above all, be intentional with your circle. Surround yourself with visionaries who see your light, not vampires who dim it. You have a choice to let the pain keep you small or to let it refine you into someone wiser, stronger, and more determined than ever. The power is in your hands. This is not just survival, it's your elevation. So rise not in spite of the hurt, but because of it. Let your journey speak volumes, not about what they did, but about who you became.